Hello, I'm Richard Claywell. Welcome back to another episode of Litigation Speaks. We're going to talk about doing some forensics for the next few episodes instead of business valuations. We will return to business valuations, and we're also going to eventually talk about economic damages and how that works. Today I want to talk to you about what a forensic accountant does, and I want to talk to you about a thing called a CSV file, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on. What does a forensic accountant do? We investigate. We look for anomalies. We look for unusual types of things in the financial records. That's one of the processes that we go through. We assist in litigation support. You need to have somebody that can testify about here's what's going on, here's why this is an anomaly, and why this is just not passing the smell test. Of course, now we have support and documentation for that, but that's one of the things that we do. We also help in dispute resolution. This probably would come before you start going to depositions, but we can tell you that here's how this works, this is what the issues are, and educate you as far as how whatever's going on is actually working and how someone's actually trying to perpetrate a fraud. So we can help you with those types of items that are there. When you all do a document request, there are several items that you need to have. We're going to talk about a few, but not all of them. One of the things we need to have are bank statements. Typically, when we get bank statements, you all have not called us to say, what do you need? So you say, well, I've got a bunch of documents already. We get bank statements, and we get the front copy of a check. Now think about this. If I'm committing fraud, how do I get money from one company to another? If you look on the back side of a check, you'll see who actually endorsed the check, which may or may not be the individual that's made out to, and it will show you an account number that goes to. So when you ask for checks, ask for front and back. That will help us, and it saves time because you've already gone through the process of requesting it. The bank has given you the information, and it may have taken a week, may have taken months to get it. But now we get to start the process all over again because we really need the backside of the checks. I want to take a look at the individual's personal and corporate tax returns. It's real easy to hide assets in there. So we want to request those. Be sure and get those for all the years that you have. If they say that they don't have them or they can't get them, that's fine. The IRS has a form, it's 4506. You can request that. Request a certified copy is what I would recommend that you do, and then you can get the tax returns. So now you've got that information that's there. They also file for loans, especially if people have a business. It's very common. They're going to the bank. I need to borrow some money. When they do that, they are putting their best foot forward. So they want to disclose all the assets that they have. They want to give you the fair market value of those assets, i.e., I can repay the loan based upon the asset base, and that's what the bank is looking for, is for collateral. So when you get those loan applications, if they're trying to hide assets, I don't have anything. Look at the loan applications, give you some idea of what they've got. We want to get the accounting records, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a few seconds here. This list that we're just not talking about is not all inclusive. The list goes on and on and on and on again. So there's just a lot of information that's very, very unique as far as what we're asking for. But we're asking for a lot of different things that are out there. When we ask for this, and this is very common, we will get a response from the attorney that we're working with, and the other side is objecting because they're saying it's too burdensome. So that's one of the issues I want to talk about. Why do you not want to give us the data? Well, I know why, because you don't want us to see what you've got and potentially create some harm for your client. When we request this, I'll tell you how difficult it is, how time consuming it is to create these documents. The first thing we want to do is find a warm body, typically it's the bookkeeper of the company, and have them go sit down in front of a computer. That's the first thing. Second thing we want them to do is log into their accounting program. How long has this taken so far? Then what we want to do is to have that bookkeeper go out and select the data that they want and the range of the dates that they want. What, 5 or 10 seconds? Then they want to print it. Do they want to print it to paper? Do they want to print it to electronic file? And we're going to talk about printing to electronic files. It's better if we can get both hard copy and electronic, but all they have to do is push that button to do that. This takes about 30 to 45 seconds per the item that we're requesting. So we're going to talk about some master files, we're going to talk about some journals, financial statements in just a few minutes. But to print a complete set of everything we're asking for one specific item, 30 to 45 seconds. So in my mind, that begs the question, how can this be overburdensome? But that's what all the attorneys say on the opposing side. When we print, we can print to what is called a CSV file, or we can print to Excel. If we can get the data in Excel, that's better. The reason for that is it's easier for us to get that information and to massage that to get the exact data that we're looking for. The problem with an Excel file is, depending on the type of computer that you use, you may or may not have Excel on it, or it doesn't operate in Excel. And I don't use a Mac. I never have used a Mac, but my understanding is Excel and Mac don't play well with each other. But there's a CSV file, and it's called a Common Separated Values file. This is a universal file. If you kind of think of Excel, that can be used by everybody. That's the CSV file. So what we do is we have the attorneys request that they download this data for us in a CSV file. And again, this is included in this 30 to 45 second time frame to actually get the data that you're looking for. Now, if we get the CSV file for these different items, I am really happy, okay? It's difficult to get it, but we ask for it. And if we don't get it, we ask for it a second time. And then if they don't want to give it to us, I guess that's fine. Here's where the problem comes in with that. If we have to go and use paper, then we need to enter all this data into Excel so we can look for different items that we're looking for. That takes time. So now, instead of a forensic investigation being a little expensive, now it's massively expensive. So they are really wasting the assets of the estate because they don't want to give us this in electronic format. So give it to us in electronic format. We can do our job. We're here, we're gone. Give you a report, and then the attorneys can do what you all do. But we've reduced our cost significantly by doing that. If you use a CSV file, it can be opened by almost any computer program or any computer operating system that's out there. So it's real easy to do. And again, my understanding is Excel does not work on Macs. Again, we don't use Macs, but that's my understanding. There is no additional cost for a program that I have to buy in order to use a CSV file. We use Microsoft's software programs. It's all built into it, so it's already there. So there is no additional cost for that. It saves so much time that's absolutely ridiculous. All we have to do is plug it into our computer, to the USB drive, we download the data, and we've got it. So it's extremely easy to do that. The types of files that we're looking for, there's a general ledger master file. This has got all the background data that's going to be relating to the general ledger and the financial statements that you have that are out there. There's an accounts payable file. It's going to be the same thing. It's a master file. It's got all the data that you want to know about your accounts payables. Same thing with accounts receivables. Same thing with the fixed assets. If these people are trying to manipulate assets, trying to manipulate the data that's out there, it can be very easily detected in these master files. There's also a payroll file, master file, and there's an inventory master file. But this makes it real easy if we get this in a CSV file to go through that data we can go through massive amounts of data in very little time. So think about that from the standpoint of cost to the client. I mean, we're all interested in doing this at a reasonable rate, a reasonable amount of time. If we can get that in the CSV file, that's absolutely great. About 6 weeks ago, I had an attorney here in my office, and I had the client in my office, and we'd gone through a company trying to identify what was there. This was all on paper, pretty expensive to do it. And we had requested CSV files. The attorney did not know what a CSV file was. So I explained to her what it was, how it worked, and I know she was going to go back and request the data in a CSV file. So haven't received the information yet, but hopefully we will receive that. So when you request the data, try to get it on a CSV file. Ask for the bank statements, both front and back for the checks. Let the experts take a look at this. We can tell you what's going on and assist you with your case, and hopefully get an outcome that's reliable and that both parties would agree on, which would probably save some time in the courtroom. If we need to go to court, I don't have a problem going to court and testifying. You know, depositions and trial, to me, it makes no difference. If we have to do that, my preference is not to do that, but if we have to, we will. Well, thank you for joining me today, and would like for you to subscribe to Richard Claywell on LinkedIn, and also go to Litigation Speaks on YouTube. You can see the prior episodes that we have done. When I put this one together, this is number 59. So we're trying to educate attorneys on what to do, what to look for, and make it easier for them to practice in this area dealing with accounting experts. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, contact me. Be more than glad to discuss it with you. Thank you for attending. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.